Welcome to Maps Handbrake, guys. Now I did say to myself at least that I was probably never going to do another course on GMB because I thought I'd covered pretty much everything, but what has caught my attention is I've had a number of people over the last 5 months or so coming to me and saying one of the things that they don't know how to do is to get rankings from the outset. So most courses, and myself and Lloyd have been guilty of this too, have focused really on ranking existing GMBs that already have some degree of prominence, within maps. So we haven't sort of taken a brand new GMB or a GMB which is not ranking at all. So when I say not ranking, I mean literally like nothing. It is red, a sea of red on the grid, for your keywords that you're looking for. And that's maybe even after you've optimized your website and you've done everything that you see that you could possibly have done to try to get some rankings, and yet still you're stuck. And this is a very, very common problem. So I thought, well, hang on, this is something that we deal with every day with lead generation, because we're creating new GMBs which are fresh out of the gate with no ranking whatsoever. Now, if you're in really fairly easy niches, then rankings will come really without too much effort. But if you're in a tougher environment, say for example like the home service niches like plumbing and HVAC and electricians to some degree, roofing, pest control, gutter cleaning, these types of things, you're going to find that when you first establish a GMB, it probably isn't going to rank at all, unless you're putting them up in regional areas or small cities where there's very little in the way of competition. But these types of home service businesses have very, very serious competition in high density population areas. You can sometimes have 100 plumbers vying for the rankings within a 5 square mile radius of a city. It's incredible the saturation that Google Maps has when it comes to service type businesses, home service type business, because the demand for them is high, but the supply is also high. There's a lot of competition. And compounded in that is the fact that Google works on this proximity basis. So it's very, very difficult to establish yourself in an area when you're a brand new listing. So what this course aims to do is to take you through step by step. That was the other criticism we had of previous courses, is that they laid out a lot of good strategies, but they didn't give you a step-by-step plan for what to implement next. So over this course, we're going to take you step by step and hand in hand, covering every single aspect of how you get these maps off the ground. This is the reason we've called it Maps Handbrake, because the whole idea is to take the handbrake off your rankings. So we want your listings to break free of that situation where they're either not ranking at all or they're ranking over such a small radius that you're just not getting any calls. So what are we going to cover within this course? Well, first of all, the likely reasons that your rankings are poor. The 3 ranking factors, really, really important. Google actually talks about these. They don't hide this, but it's very important that we cover these and really get to the essence of what we do about changing, or what we do about actually implementing strategies to cover all those aspects. The importance of categories, correct selection, location of your GMB and why it matters, entities and why they matter, really, really important point. The 3 topics, I have discussed this in brief before in a course, but I'm going to go into more depth this time and really put some meat on the bones about this, because it really is that important. On-page factors, what matters and what doesn't. There are a number of things that don't really matter very much to do with on-page. How to correctly set up and optimize your maps listing. Really, really vital, this, guys. Surprising how often people get this wrong. How to structure your website on page content to push maps rankings like crazy. we're going to show you the do's and don'ts. There are some things that don't really matter too much to do with on page, and there are things that matter a lot. The importance of reviews and the correct use of them. Don't skim over this one, guys. You might be tempted to. This is absolutely vital, and it's actually fundamental to your rankings. We'll cover that and I'll show you the proof of it. Using posts to push rankings. Most people think that posts, Google My Business posts, or Google Business Profile posts as they're called now, do not push rankings, and generally speaking they don't, but there are certain things that you can do which will change that. Business site ranking tricks. Okay, again, most people don't bother publishing the business site that you get free with the GMB because they don't see any benefit to it. We're going to show you how to set that up so that it will push your rankings. Off-page tactics that push the needle. We're going to show you a lot of off-page stuff that you should be doing in order to improve your rankings and your brand prominence. Relevance stacking, vital for fast rankings. Okay, not going to go into that at all here. We'll cover that when we get into that section of the course. Traffic overview, the do's and don'ts based on real test results. Okay, so we test stuff, guys. This is not theory. We test stuff. Some of it works, most of it doesn't. We keep the stuff that does. We throw away the stuff that doesn't. We make a note of it though, because we do test everything in the future. Things that didn't work in the past sometimes will begin to work in the future. All of our testing, the theory, comes from reading patents, okay? Or predominantly. So we'll read patents, get some ideas, test them. If they don't work, we'll shelve it and we'll test again later. 5 needle moving traffic strategies you won't have seen before. These are 5 proprietary strategies that we developed in-house, okay, which we're going to reveal to you. I guarantee you won't have seen these specific strategies before. Driving emulations revisited. We've covered this before, and other people have covered this in their courses. And I think Brock Meissner did his course and covered a bit of this. So this is it's been not, I wouldn't say well covered, but it has been covered before. But I want to revisit it and just tell you a couple of things of how to make sure you do this right, simply because it really does work incredibly well for certain categories. It doesn't work for all categories, but it works for many. How to change your reported IP location at will. Okay, this is a really unique one, guys. I don't know anyone else that's ever covered this, but we're going to teach you how to change your reported IP location in your browser, which is going to make a massive difference when it comes to local rankings to do with traffic particularly. And the last 2 things on the list are links, what type and where to point them. So really important to build the right type of links and to point them at the right properties. Local schema is the final piece in the puzzle here. We're going to take you through a template which is designed specifically to move your maps rankings, okay? And we're going to go into all of the fields within that template and cover how to edit them and what you should be doing in order to fill that template out as fully as possible so that you can take advantage of schema from a local standpoint. There are lots of different schema types. There are lots of different types of schema you could put on your listing. This is the most important one. It's the only one I'm going to cover because I don't want to get too in depth into schema. Other people have covered that subject much better than I could. Most notably Daryl Osborne, Clint Butler. These guys, if you want a real deep dive into schema, then definitely worth checking out Daryl and Clint, because they really know their stuff when it comes to schema, and they certainly will do the subject justice far more than I would. Okay, so that's the overview. The next thing, I guess, is to for those of you that have never taken a course from Lloyd and myself before, you might be wondering, well, okay, why would I want to do this course? How can you prove that you know I should listen to you? Well, I am going to get into showing you in the course. I'll show you some maps rankings. I don't want to do that here simply because I've done that all before. It's, you know, they can be fudged. You know, I've seen instances where people have fudged those results, so I don't want to use them as the basis to convince you. What I am going to do, I'm going to show you the number of calls that we've produced from various different listings, okay, so that you can actually see that we're producing real calls. This is for lead generation, but of course you could be doing this for your own business, you could be doing this for a client, you could be doing this for rank and rent, however you want to set up the business, or whatever business you currently have that you're doing this for is fine. That doesn't change with these techniques are applicable to everything, depending, it's not dependent on the type of business structure that you have. So let me now take you through some results so that I can show you the numbers of calls. Okay, I can tell you this was for the niche lawn care. Okay, it's not one of our bigger niches, which is why I'm prepared to reveal it. This was over about a 4-month period. These are the number of calls generated in this particular bin within our phone number provider. This one here was over 6 months, so this is a small campaign for gutter cleaning, okay, but you can see we're getting about 1,000 calls a month there for that particular niche. This one here is a niche that I'm not prepared to reveal because it's one of our primary industries, but this is a brand new campaign. When I say brand new, about 7 weeks old, this campaign. This one is also a new campaign, again about 7 weeks old. And this one has generated so far, again about well, this one is generating about 1,000 calls a week there. The final one that I'm going to show you is our longest standing client. This campaign's been running for about a year and so far has generated 61,392 calls. Okay, so obviously there are guys doing bigger volumes than this, but this is not bad. You're certainly making a decent living from this kind of volume of calls. But the primary objective here is just to demonstrate to you that this works, and all of these calls are generated because we're able to rank the GMBs. It's as simple as that. Okay, if we weren't able to do it, we wouldn't be getting the call volume. Okay, so that's it, guys, for the introduction and the overview of what's in the course. I'm now going to take you through to the first, if you've come on board at least, we're going to take you through to the first lesson, and we're going to get started with actually showing you exactly how to implement these techniques from step 1 onwards up to step 20, which is the schema. Okay, so we're going to go through every single element.